This presentation is brought to you by Brailleiant at Brailleiant.org, where we are bridging the digital divide for the blind. The following is a recording of the tour of the Technology Center at the National Federation of the Blind in Baltimore, Maryland, with Brailleiant.org on September 28, 2018.
So these next two tables are our computer tables. Here's where we have JAWS, NVDA, Kurzweil, OpenBook, other software,
And you
Zoom
do
Text, Magic, Braille displays from various manufacturers.
and you do training here, or is this
We
test?
don't really do training simply because we don't have the bandwidth. What this is more is for demo purposes, like for you folks or other people who come in and want to look at a specific thing.
Okay.
And then we do testing when a new product comes out, when a new version of Windows. You know, we test it against that stuff.
Okay.
And do you guys have updated software like the BrailleSense Polaris and the Brailleiant Touch and stuff like that?
We do.
Oh, that would be great because I actually want to see one Brailleiant Touch because
I'll show you Brailleiant Touch. In my opinion, when we get to them,
yeah.
in my opinion, they're big and clunky.
And do you normally get the manufacturers or the developers to give you the
No.
the hardware and software? Or do you
We
have to
purchase
purchase
it.
You have to purchase it.
And we do that by choice.
Okay,
There are manufacturers who will give us stuff.
but you don't want to be influenced by
Right. Or perceive as being beholden to a manufacturer,
right.
which is why we buy most of this stuff.
Okay.
Also, as we've been going down along the wall over here, is some desktop Braille embossers, some deafblind equipment, various other things.
What kind of Braille embossers do you have other than Braille Bladers?
Oh, we have all sorts. We have index Braille embossers, various different View Plus models. Humanware is now doing Braille embossers.
Okay.
And then roughly across the way here, we have a small items display case that has iPhones, Android devices, small Braille displays, the ID Mate, smart glasses, all that type of stuff. And then these two tables are our tactile graphics tables, which have all sorts of neat things. A Windows desktop layout made of Legos, different Braille maps and things. On this table we have some 3D printed objects. Have you heard of 3D printing?
Of course.
For 3D printing? Do you have a 3D printer, accessible 3D printer?
We do have 3D printers. Unfortunately, the software isn't that accessible. So like this is an example of a DNA helix.
So this can actually print stuff?
Print out
Well,
3D.
that is something that was printed from a 3D printer.
Oh.
You're feeling there.
So is there even a bit of accessibility on the 3D printer that you could show us?
Not really.
Everything is touch screen.
Well, no, it all comes from the computer, and the software on the computer that the printers use to start the print is not accessible.
Oh.
So do you have to have somebody else operate that part?
Generally, we have a sighted person do it because also a lot of times you need to adjust the size or the angle of the image to fit in your 3D printer, or take some fine tuning.
Okay.
Do you think you should? Do you think you would need some help to get that accessible? Well, we could ask.
It's going to rely. I know some of my former colleagues have reached out to manufacturers to do that, but a lot of times it's just a matter of they don't see the need or have the bandwidth or whatever reasoning,
Yeah.
The amount of cost and effort it would take, they don't find that reasonable.
which is unfortunate. But
Yeah.
We could help. Just ask us if you need our help.
So these next two tables are our note-taker tables. So to start off with, the Polaris is in my office, which I can go grab eventually.
Yeah.
Um,
What about the touch?
the touch we do have in here, and we'll get to in a minute. Some of the different HIMS note-takers and things. And then on this next table, have you seen or heard of the L Braille?
Braille display?
It's called the EL Braille. It's a
Oh, right. It's a Windows Braille display. And what about the PackMate?
that's discontinued.
Oh, that's discontinued.
Yep.
Can I see that?
Right here.
How does this work?
So it's a Focus 14 Braille display inside like a dock.
It says STBTN
Start button.
start button.
Task view button to activate, press spacebar.
And what are these? Cursor routers?
Yep.
And this is your Braille keyboard?
Mm-hmm.
And these are backspace and enter?
On the end of the Braille keyboard, yeah, the dot 7 and 8. And then below that are some like mode buttons and things.
Like this?
Like this here where my finger is. Those are different mode buttons and other pieces. And then down on the front you have more navigation buttons and stuff.
Alright, and
Frankly, I don't really recommend it though. It's pretty underpowered.
and it's pretty complicated.
Not really. I mean, have you ever used a Braille display with a computer?
I know that. Where is that space bar?
It is right below the display right there.
Oh, that's
Right there.
awkward.
Tab, taskbar, Mozilla Firefox button to move through items, press
Okay.
tab, people button to activate, press
Yep.
spacebar.
And then the Braille Touch is right around the other side of the table.
Great. And I'm. And where is the power button?
Let's see, that one's not plugged in, so go to the next one to your right. But you can feel the size of it.
Oh yeah.
And if you lift it up, you'll feel how heavy it is.
Oh yeah. And this has the case on it,
Yep.
and the case is a little different.
And also, the Braille keyboard is attached to the case, not the unit. So if this flips up, then you have a touch screen here.
Oh right. And you can
You can essentially Braille on the touch screen.
and
Although I find it rather inefficient.
Yeah.
and how do we power this baby up?
Button on the side right here, I got it.
And then we can press space with you. Got it.
Okay.
That sounds good.
What I will also say, this uses a fairly early version of Android, not early, but old version of Android, so a lot of stuff doesn't work.
Yeah, and I see that it's majoritively the same commands as the Braille Note Apex with a few differences.
Yep.
That's how I was able to get out of that dialog box. And another difference is when you press a command, it doesn't automatically bring you into it. Like W for keyword, it will not. It will just pull up the word processor. I mean, and then you have to press enter to go into it.
Right.
And everything is set to default configurations. There's no extra software.
Well, I mean, you can go to the Play Store and download whatever you want.
Right, but you guys don't have anything else installed on it.
There might be a couple things. I don't remember off the top of my head what's on there. And then, have you seen, it's called the Orbit Reader?
No, I've watched the YouTube videos, but
right
they're
here.
they're not very.
Hold on, I'm just turning it on. Oh, there we go.
The version menu item.
Yep, so you're in the manual and then you can. So you have your Braille keyboard at the top
Yep.
with a little four-way directional thingy in the middle, up, down, left, right, enter. Your space bar with dots 7 and 8 on either side of it are below the other 6 dots.
And is this the 6 dots?
Yes.
At the top, yeah. Oh, excuse me. And then below, next to the Braille display on either side, you have little panning rocker things.
And what are those?
That's the display refreshing.
Oh.
So when I scroll,
You feel it?
Oh.
I'm scrolling through the manual, and it's refreshing. Instead of refreshing all at once like a Braille note, it refreshes from left to right.
Oh.
But the advantage of that is it's $500.
And how do you
Opposed to
get out of the
$7,000.
manual?
You press .7 and it takes you back to the list of files.
And this is .7?
.7 is to the left of the space bar.
This one?
Right here, where my pointer is. Right there. It's already back to the file list. But so that you can load any BRF file or text file onto an SD card and read it right on there. It will also pair to your phone or computer. Note though that there are no cursor routing keys.
Yeah. So then how do you select?
You use the little joystick thing, or the directional thing in the top middle to move the cursor around it to get it to where you need.
Oh. And then you see there are...
So also on this table we have other book players like the Victor Reader Stream.
Second gen?
Yep. The Blaze devices, other stuff like that. And then at the far end here we have some very large production Braille embossers.
Those are huge.
Yeah.
Want to see it?
Yeah, you can show. They start at like $25,000 and go up to over $100,000.
And what is this?
This is a Braille embosser.
They're
And
designed for like American
what
Printing
is-
House for the
what
blind,
is this
National
specific-
Preference.
Right.
what is this specific embosser?
I'm
this
not
one?
sure which one you're at.
The first one?
The
The
big
first
glass one?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's an old embosser called the 4-Wave that's no longer being used. So-
$42,995.
And that price is out of date and probably 30% higher than
Yes.
what's listed there.
That's pretty impressive.
So
Okay.
that's kind of a high-level overview of this room,
And
hitting on all the basics.
have you ever heard of the Smart Vision 2?
Heard of it, never used it.
Never used it.
But from what I heard, it wasn't fully localized for the US, so like it used the UK voice by default, and some other
Right.
things didn't seem to be available from the person who was using it that I talked to.
So what would you say would be an approximate utilization for this room?
Well, it's used for various things. Like my colleague Steve is in here brailing stuff all the time.
Okay.
We're in here,
Using those touches.
no, using the big stuff back here.
Using the big Braille embossers and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Okay.
We're in here a few times a week at least looking at different things, or bringing folks like yourself through, or testing a new product, or running updates, or all sorts of different stuff.
Okay. Wow, it's pretty nice.
Big room.
Yeah, one of the harder tasks for us, not because it's all that challenging, just because it's time consuming, is keeping all these computers and stuff and note takers and everything
No
up to date.
kidding. No kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah. Somebody has to update the software.
Yeah.
And you were supposed to show me the Polaris.
Yes, I need to grab that out of my office, but I can do that.
Okay.
Can you do that?
You have time?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, we'll just pause at my office on the way out and I'll
Okay.
grab it. And
Super.
Okay, let's go then.
Any other questions before we go, or?
Do you do a lot of the embossing for particular companies or?
No, mostly in-house work,
Okay.
like some of our brochures and pamphlets and programs that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, we have to outsource some of it. Some of like doing the big national convention agendas,
Right.
we usually outsource that. Or, some of the larger, higher volume jobs, we still even outsource ourselves. There are places you can go online. One is called like Shapeways, where you can actually upload an image and get it 3D printed,
Oh,
commercially. And there you can choose different materials and customize how it looks.
And what software do you use to 3D print?
The 3D printer will generally, use any, you may have heard of the term CAD, computer-aided design,
Yeah.
software to design the image. And then each 3D printer will have its own software that you use to actually
Print
get
it.
the image ready for printing. Now the battery on this may be dead, but we'll see. But I mean, it works very similar to other Braille senses.
Yeah, like the U2, I mean,
Mhm.
except for that it's running Android.
Yep. Yeah, it's dead. Oh, no,
It's alive.
it's turning on. So this is it.
This is it. Let me look at the display. Hymns.
Yep, and it's just turning on.
Right. In a second, it should blank out, and then you will hear the
It'll do other
familiar.
stuff, yeah. So you can notice it's much lighter than the Brailleiant Touch.
Mm-hmm. Thinner.
Yep,
Now it says starting Braille Sense.
yep.
And the keyboard is the same as before, and
Pretty
you
much,
still
yeah.
have your scrolling keys
Yep.
and your.
It was very intentionally designed to be as similar to the old Braille Senses as possible. So you got USB ports, your media controls on the front.
And the buttons are a little softer. I mean, the function keys are a little different. As you can see, it's not hard anymore. The Braille Sense was kind of like a Romeo 60 button.
Yeah, so
Now
now
it
it
says
is
File
up.
Manager. The speech is off.
It's also
There you
very
go.
quiet.
Save.
There we go.
Options saved. Word processor. W.
And this is running. And this is Samantha.
Yep.
Word email. E. Media. M. Organizer. O. Web to organizer. O. Media. M.
I'm just scrolling back
Email,
up.
B. Word processor. W.
And I just want to see how it feels to type on this.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna press.
4:52 p.m. 2 notifications.
E. ST. Space.
Yeah, it's nice to type on, and I like it.
Cool.
Okay.
So.
All right then.
Well,
Right.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Yeah.
Yes, home button.
You can go ahead and say no.
No home button.
There you go, and
Word
just hit
processor.
enter.
W.
There you go.
Yep, I know how to do that.
You always completely power it off, or do you sometimes?
I wouldn't normally if I was going to be using it, but it's just going back on the desk and it's not plugged in. So
Great. Carl, thank you so much
you're welcome.
for taking your time to show us through the room and
Yep,
the different devices. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Carl.
indeed. So I guess I need to assist you guys out.
So otherwise we might get lost
in this big building.
in this huge building. This has been a presentation by Brailleiant at Brailleiant.org, where we are bridging the digital divide for the blind. If you like this video, please click the like button. And for more interesting videos, please subscribe to our channel.